this up?
I'm going over to my computer 1 second.
We're live.
Getting things set up here. Welcome to OWC Season 3. This is the Hive versus Havoc coming up here. A good match for you here in the NA servers. First map we're going to play here is Elio, so we'll see if the Hive can swarm over the Havoc or if Havoc will create enough chaos to win game number one. Game number one usually super important coming in to our best of five first three match.
Now arriving at Ilios.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how Hive is going to run tonight. They're kind of a death ball heavy team, so we're going to see if, can Havoc deal with the high coordination of their death ball style of play? Can they jump in with some range? Can they get in behind their ranks and kind of peel them apart a little bit? So first up here, first test, Elios. What do you think?
And Elios already starting off on the well, really even including like you have all those pushes and stuff going into the middle of the wall. So the middle of the well or middle of the field and the control point are really hard ones. So we'll see if any of the teams can take control of maybe using the field a little bit, as we already see some, like we see the Orisas all the time or Lucio's all the time here as well. So maybe we can get something going there. Maybe we'll see a few environmental kills here going into the last 20 seconds before we prepare to attack. The blue side, you will see the Hive, and on the red side, you'll see Havoc. So this should be interesting game going in. As you can see, the different team comms here, very standard-like on both sides. Actually, though, on the Hive, they've got three healers, including the Brigitte. They've got three healers, one soldier, and two tanks. So very different comm from what we're used to seeing here. Same thing happening on the other side as well. So we'll see how these teams utilize these comms as we move into the first attack here on the point. So teams keeping their distance from each other, no flanks right now. Looking for the environmental kill. Big Head not going to be able to get it, so Hermes pushing up a little bit for the Hive here, trying to get the first strike. Point doesn't lock, so here we go. Let's look to see who can get the first strike. Already Hermes knocked off Orisa from Big Head, getting their first environmental kill. What a play right in the middle of the well.
That should open it up for him, really. He should be able to now establish and slowly push back the other team.
And it does as well, because Big Head also gets the D-Mech. Also gets the D-Mech on McStukes, Notorious on the kill on Dynamic Beast, and that's going to push them back, and that's going to allow Havoc to get their first strike on the point.
Yeah, and I expect them to be able to. They did really well in handling that hardcore death ball. They just kind of turtled up in the corner and did a lot of poke damage and were really patient to get their break.
And really interesting too now here, they're going for another attack right off the bat. 20% already for the Havoc. So the Hive seeing if they can swarm this point here, try and get around as all 6 of their players come around the side. So we'll see if anyone here. Blessed by it's Artisan. Coalescence also being used by Morton Salt as well. Here comes the rally.
And again, Hermes in the pit. Second time.
Hermes is just having bad luck today.
Yeah.
Once by Big Head and now once by Robodude. And as you can see on the board right now, 3 players, Notorious, Big Head, and Robodude, all for Havoc. We're on fire at one point, and they win team fight number 2.
But we are seeing a pattern here. One, Hermes is being a little out of position, and every time he goes down, so does Hive. So if they're going to win this next team fight, they have to keep Hermes out of that danger zone.
So keeping out of the danger zone here, just like you said, they're going to try and keep it around the side here, not to allow Hermes back into that wall, but still the danger of the edge of the map here, as we see the strike going on here. Hermes with that ult, so he may be able to use it here with that Earth Strike, and that Earth Shatter comes in for a huge one. 4 going down, Big Head still gets a triple kill though, so that allows Havoc to get the team fight here. Robo Dude with a boop on the Junkrat from Fun. McStukes on the D-Mac, but that's still going to push Havoc back here. And I don't know if the Hive is going to have enough time to make one more team fight here.
It's going to be, yeah. It's smoke him if you got him territory.
Last place of desperation here for McStukes with that ult, but that allows the Hive to come back onto the point. McStukes, here we go with the Hive, trying to come back here. McStukes with the dead. Foiler with the dead eye on Fun, so that's a single kill, but that does help out. Havoc though. Bryce gets a kill on Hermes once again, getting rid of the tank. So it looks like the Hive may have themselves pushed back here. Bryce T with a good self-destruct on in Artisan, Morton Salt on Dynamic Beast, and that should be it here. The D-Mac and the final kill on McStukes should end it, and Havoc's gonna get point number 1 here on Elios.
All right, you saw this match. Was it more of a positioning mistake by Hive that just they never could really get going, or did Havoc execute well and just really took advantage, recognizing that the Rhine was out of position?
I don't know, honestly. It was just it looked to me more like they were going for the tanks first. You can already see like Hermes once, like you said, once Hermes got out of the play already, they just went off. Havoc just went off, and they easily took point number 1 with that, because after knocking Hermes off, and the guy is having bad luck, let's be honest here. He's having bad luck already, getting knocked off the map, or rather knocked into the map, rather twice. So, I mean, really just the middle of the wall just swallowing up, but we're on ruins now, so this may actually help him, since there's no way to clear off the map.
It's going to be
nothing in the middle.
A little bit more difficult. So, this is, you get the first one behind you, and now you play to your strength.
So now there's no danger zone in the middle, so Hermes going right in the middle of it. Foiler with a good pick on Banana to start off this fight for Havoc here, so it's a 6v5. Foiler, one more can you say about the snipes here? One more pick on Fun with a headshot there. That's going to allow a 5v4 on the point right now. Foiler, one more snipe after the other. Big Head tackling Hermes off the point. That should allow Havoc to get the point first strike, and Ruins is going to belong to Havoc to start.
Yeah, they really, Hive really doesn't have a good answer for Widow here. Look at their comp. They really don't. The Diva is probably their best answer that can kind of push that Widow around a little bit, but that's going to take so much presence out of their attack into the center, so that's going to be a risky maneuver for them.
Very risky maneuver here. You can see still Foiler up top with that infrared sight, so if he needs it, he can still use it here. Big Head coming in with an Earth Shatter into this fight as well. And the only one close to their ult right now is in Artisan coming into this fight, so Havoc may have the advantage here. We'll see if anything happens here. There's the coalescence from in Artisan, trying to see if they can get anything here. And the Earth Shatter coming in, only getting Fun though with the pin, and that is going to work there with Fun. Gets the Earth Shatter on Dynamic Beast. Notorious going off as well, and look at that, the Brigida and the Reinhardt. Big Head and Notorious from Havoc with a huge team kill, and Havoc's gonna have themselves more points on this point.
All right, you're Hive. You just went 0-100. You got shut out. You're on the verge here again. What adjustments do you make?
Well, I don't know what adjustments need to be made, but they need to make it soon. I wouldn't know what adjustments need to be made, but they need to make it soon here, as they may have only one team fight left. Here comes Havoc. Here comes Havoc with their defense, but the Hive on the moves, trying to swarm it. But Foiler still no answer from the Hive here on that Widow, as Havoc's gonna get themselves a kill from Foiler once again. Bryce T on that Hermes, but you can see in Artisan with that being rezzed up by Dynamic Beast. But Bryce T here on this Diva going off already 2 kills. That's going to push the Hive all the way back. And I don't know if anybody's going to make it back in time. 4 points left to go here on this. The Earth Shatter being used really well to clear the point here, but it's still overtime. In Artisan gets on the point. Don't know if anybody else on the Hive is going to be able to. Yes, they will. Lucio from Dynamic Beast still on that. Here comes the ult from Fun, trying to get anything. Bryce T kills him though. On the self-destruct. Here come all the ults though on both sides. Banana with 2 kills of his own, but goes down from Morton Salt, and I believe that will be it. It's point number 1 going to Havoc.
So Havoc drawn first blood here on Hive. We saw some patterns though. You know, Hive really stuck with their game plan. You know, they were gonna go down with this ship regardless. It was hardcore death ball. We're gonna make it work. Unfortunately, they really they're kind of their lack of focus when they would engage. They would get a lot. They had some opportunities with Havoc. There's a couple of times Havoc's main Rhine was critically low. They just couldn't close the deal. And conversely, you know, the Hive's main tank Rhine was being brutalized a little bit. He'd extend maybe just a little bit too far into it and was punished for that. And that once the Rhine went down, so went Hive. They didn't have a lot of sustain outside of that, and they didn't have a lot of good angles to get around Havoc. So that behind us, it is now into map 2 in this best of 5 series.
And actually, we have our analyst here as well to see what went on in that game. Lindare is here as well, if we can get him in after he unmutes himself. And Lindare, a really good game by Havoc over there, 2-0ing and pretty much 200%. Oh, what did you see there during that game?
So, you know what, I'm gonna go off and say that Havoc played well. I think the biggest issue was the Hive had no flexibility. So the Hive could have pulled out many things, because the first map they tried to go for like a more aggressive death ball straight into an Orisa comp on Ilios, and you have nothing to really kind of break shield or
Right.
from there. And really, they could have just pulled out a slower comp, maybe pulled out a fair of their own, and just started, you know, just bombing in. Because there's nothing really you can do against the, you know, charging head on into an Orisa death ball. You're just kind of going to get team wiped, and there's no space with how they play on how to go from there. The second map, I thought it was just the lack of Widowmaker on Hive's side just killed them. There's nothing you can do to counter a Widowmaker besides bring your own Widowmaker. So the fact that on the best Widow map in the game you have nothing to counter that, it's just too much for your team to ask for your supports to stay alive. It's just easy win for Havoc there.
And so, what do you think the Hive need to do in order to get onto this next map as we're selecting our map here? What do you think the Hive needs to do in order to take down Havoc and try and tie the series up?
Oh, well, if you don't have enough damage for if your team's not able to put off enough damage, your DPS players aren't necessarily that strong or something like that, I would heavily suggest pulling out Zenyatta and just going on a slower, easier comp, maybe like a Brigitte death ball where you pull out the Rhine, the Zarya, the Hanzo. That way you have a clear set win condition, because if you're not necessarily outclassing your opponent in every way, shape, and form, you can easily just go and pull out an easy combo where you can just Mercy damage boost the Hanzo and team wipe the entire their team every single time. So if you can't actually outclass them, just pull out a comp where you can easily get a set win condition to win.
And I agree with that. Once the Hive can get set up, I think they can compete. But aggressively trying to take it from them, it simply isn't working for all the reasons that you've already mentioned. So their key, I agree with you, is they have to roll in with a combo that is a guaranteed team win, whatever you want to roll with.
Exactly. I think a lot of both teams didn't really necessarily have a set combo or a set kind of win condition. So if there was any sort of win condition thrown in there, because when you run a kind of a Orisa comp, your only win condition is to basically not die and just get on point, win that first fight. Second you win that, it's very hard for the other team to get you off. But the second they do actually get you off of that, then you need to start making changes. So yeah, once the Hive actually gets on there and gets their win condition down, it'll be very, very easy for them to go forward from there. I don't think there's necessarily a huge skill gap in the team. I think just the composition they're running was just kind of slamming their head into the wall.
Yeah, and because the teams are so evenly matched, you know, going up 5v6, going up 4v6, you know, those little picks, or even if you force one of the players out of position where they have to disengage from the fight, those can make such a big difference, because you don't have some power players that can just kind of carry that load against the other team. You're matching up very well.
Exactly. Yeah, I think just get down a win condition for the Hive. The Hive, that's what they're going to have to try to do. They don't seem, looking through the team, I don't think they necessarily have a certain DPS specialist, like a Widow specialist kind of thing like that. So you're just going to have to play a comp that's nice and slow, and you know what you have to do. And I think for Havoc, they just need to keep doing what they're doing too. I think that they have more specialists on their team. I think that'll be much easier for them to kind of go in and out and go from there and easily win their games.
Yeah, it is truly up to the Hive to make the adjustments to force Havoc into a new comp. Right now, I agree. Havoc's just got to roll with what they got, because until the Hive can break it, there's no reason to change.
Exactly, and I'll let you guys go and commentate on this, so peace out, boys.
All right, thank you, Lindera. Thank you very much for that. We move on from Ilios now. We're moving on to Dorado, a little bit different here. So it looks like the team comp going to change a little bit, as you guys were saying. Adjustments being made here, and actually, as you guys were talking, Banana moving out from the Hive and Stub coming in here and bringing in that Widowmaker to start here as we're assembling the heroes to start the game. So a little bit of a different team comp here, but you still see Hermes on that Reinhardt. So what does the Hive need to do to try and keep Hermes into this game and maybe keep themselves into this game?
Well, they've done a nice critical move. Hermes on Rhine is you stick with that. There wasn't, there was a little bit issue, but it was more the comp surrounding him. Now the comp surrounding him has changed. You've brought out Junkrat, high damage. You've brought out a Widow, going for those picks, and even those body shots can do some damage. You're going to keep Diva and Ryan kind of in the pocket for your space, along with Brigitte. They're just going to stay there and try and, just make that space and get picks. So the Havoc on the other side is, whether they know it or not, they're gonna run a little unique things here. I'm gonna see how well they're Doomfist, because if you're running tank heavy, Doomfist, if you can execute well, is not a bad option. They're also running a Diva, so we're gonna see if they're running a Widow, and we're gonna see if both teams' Divas, which are really the only counters that both teams have to a Widow, can kind of push each other around here. So last 10 seconds here, we roll into it. Take it away.
Actually joining us here on the casting, here on the caster's call as well, here is Flaming Potato. What's up?
Not much. I just joined, but I'm gonna try doing my best.
Alright, so here we go. First push already. You can see already around the first turn, Hive is going to set themselves up top. Stub and Foiler going to go at it, and Stub gets the pick on Foiler. So a good start from the Hive from last game. Not able to answer Foiler, but Stub may be the answer here to start off the game here, as they're already going to get it towards the first turn. Now the second turn coming into Market Square is going to be a little different here. Stub's going to get 2 more picks on both of the healers on Morning Sub and Robo Dude. Huge plays for the Hive, as Havoc's going to have to fall back and reset. Foiler getting expended on Stub though, so 2 good picks, or rather 3 good picks already for the Hive on Havoc, courtesy of Stub.
Oh, it looks like Doomfist just flanked around and got Junkrat. Just a sneaky kill right there. Good play from Nutrus.
And good play from Notorious as well. They're getting in Market Square now. Hermes going to come back down. So it's Foiler up with the top here. But Stub already noticing Foiler. He's got his number. He's got the dial tone ready to go. And Stub's got the pick on Foiler already. And they're now going to head into that little room, so not much space for them to work with. Stub already getting the pick on the healer here. Dynamics B with the D-Mech, and in Artisan going to get the Moira on Moira kill. That's going to push the Hive, or that's going to push Havoc back rather. So the Hive looking a lot different than they did here coming into this first point. They look a lot different than Ilios. And do you guys think that Stub may be making the difference here?
I think he is. Yeah, he's out there doing some good solid damage, and it's enough to kind of force the other team to react.
And Stub knowing who to pick off first. He's got Foiler's number basically, and he's picking off the 2 healers with ease. And they're making this look easy. 2 minutes left to go on the point, but we're already seeing a different Hive than we did in the last game here. And already, this comp is actually working here. No changes still on the other side for Havoc as well. So we'll see if Havoc can come back for this as we come into the next team fight here. Still plenty of action here. Here comes the Earth Shatter. A few guys getting in there, but not much. In Artisan with the Coalescence. More on Moira kill already starting. In Artisan going off here with the Coalescence. Both healers down. Not only Stub can kill, but Foiler can kill both healers here. Once again, another reset. Having to go back the D-Mech for a Dynamic B, and their Havoc's just going to have to reset one more time. So the Hive looking, like I said, a lot different than we saw them on Ilios, and this is working. And Havoc only a minute and a half left.
I don't want to overlook the Junkrat. Ult online, he can kill this next push and force a reset back into Havoc. So he can personally buy that team in another 30 seconds. Let's see how he uses his ult.
Well, Foiler already starting off this team fight well for Havoc here. Already getting the kill on Stubb, so Stubb's going to have to reset here. Fight. He's back online, but he still got it. Here comes the rally from Dynamic Speed. Here comes the self-destruct right on the other side and Jet Morton Solid. What a all-5 mixed dukes over there in Artisan with a kill on Notorious as well. So it's a 4v5 here. Here comes a huge Earth Shatter from Havoc. That's going to be courtesy of Big Head, but Big Head still dying here. Stubb with a kill on Big Head. The Arch tire. It's going to get Robo Dude for Havoc. So once again, a pushback all the way here. An almost team kill here for the Hive. So once again, Havoc just not able to answer this Junkrat or this Widowmaker or the Hive team for that matter in this case here on the first point.
Ooh, that was a bad coalescence from Morton Salt, right? Oh, he should have waited before using that, especially because there's 15 seconds left in the clock, and he didn't get any healing or picks with that.
10 seconds.
Alright, next team fight coming in here. Already a coalescence coming out from in Artisan, trying to get something or anything here to try and push back Havoc. Hermes up all in the front by himself. Still with the D-Mech already. Fun getting that double kill already on Bryce T and Notorious. So already this Junkrat coming out for fun, and it's working well for them. Robo Dude with the res on Notorious, and that's going to trigger the rally from a huge Earth Shatter. Fun with another double kill. Hermes with an Earth Shatter here, and a Fire Strike. And then overtime already, it looks like Foiler's going to go down as well. And that's going to be it. A full hold for Havoc, a full hold for the Hive, and they've got a shot at taking this point already on Dorado.
Score 0-0. Switching
So guys, what did you guys notice there that was completely different here? The Hive looking like a completely different team from going 0 to 100 on Elios to almost a full hold here, only getting 57 meters on this payload.
Junkrat. There's my single word for what was different. You know, the Widow was doing work. You know, he definitely some critical picks at time, but the meat and potatoes that was holding the line was Junkrat, dumping out the damage and just able to break that shield and just cause havoc. And because of that, they just weren't able to get a push around the backside. And Havoc was kind of in the same boat as Hive in the last, and they didn't make a lot of adjustments. They kind of stuck with their comp. You didn't see a Pharah kind of coming around back or trying the stair approach. They kept going straight for the choke every single time. So that might be a lesson learned for Havoc, is that you need to make a little bit of adjustment, especially if you've got 3 pushes that didn't go far.
And you can see already with those pushes not working well for Havoc, they're going to switch it up a little. Foiler moving on over from the Widow, giving it to Morton Salt, and actually going to play as Zenyatta instead. And Notorious, seeing that Junkrat may have triggered something because now Notorious is on Junkrat. And on the other side, pretty much the same team comp except Dynamic Speed now on that Lucio. So not a Mercy on the other side. An interesting team comp there. So what do you guys think about the team comp on the Hive side? Not much changing, but could it work?
5,
Well,
4,
considering in this point, I think Lucio is really, really good, especially on a payload map. I'm interested. Let's just see what's gonna happen from now on.
the payload.
Alright, will be interesting to see here. The team comp's changing up just a little bit here. Already, what a pick from Morton Salt to start the game on Stubb, and he's going to get picked off already. So, only 5 people on this point right now, but still no answer to Morton Salt already, as Morton Salt still gets the choke on the other side as well. But up top, the defense from Havoc, see if anything can happen here. Already a charge from Hermes with a miss there. Notorious and Morton Salt, what a team there. A pick on Stubb, and Notorious on a pick on the Junkrat, so getting their character kills on each side. Hermes starting off well for the Hive though, getting a kill on their own Reinhardt, but Morton Salt and Bryce D getting the tanks out, and that might allow Havoc to get their first push as a defense. Hive's gonna have to reset.
Yeah, I'm looking at which, your first push was just to kind of get it there. Get them out of position on the high ground, set them up on the choke. Now starts the hard work. And who are you going to rely on that? It's going to be Hermes. He's got to be able to push in, and the healers have to back him up. You know, this is what they do. They are a death ball team. This is what they live for.
Here comes the junk tire right behind him. That's going to get the kill on Fun. So Fun's out of the fight for a little while. McStukes on Notorious though. Here comes the Coalescence coming from an Artisan for the Hive. Try and see if they can get anything there. In the meantime, Big Head still gets the kill on Hermes. So Reinhardt v Reinhardt battle. It looks like Big Head's going to keep winning that one. Dynamic B switching on over from that Lucio. Now on that Brigida. Bringing on the rally here for the Hive, and that's going to push up this point even further. The self-destruct coming on. Is that going to get anybody? McStukes does get Bryce T, but on the other hand, what a kill from Bryce T! A quadruple kill. Havoc, what a play from Bryce T, and that's going to push the Hive all the way back for a team reset. But what a play by Bryce T to keep Havoc in this game.
Well, that was an extremely good play from Diva, but the problem is now the payload is so close to the point, they have to kind of stay and play around the payload, which is also quite dangerous, especially because they have a Junkrat and they're in such a closed area. Let's see what happens next teamfight.
Alright, well, next teamfight happening right now. You can already see two of the DPS. Here comes Fun with the try and the pick around the Earth Shatter. Fun gets the double kill already to start the match here. Big Head on Robodude. Stub gets the pick off. The Hive making their way up with this swarm. Can they get it up to the point already? They've got it very close. Dynamics B is going to keep it up, and that's going to be the end. The Hive ties it up in one here on Dorado. So Bryce T coming out with the push, coming out with that huge ult as he's here for play. And they tie it up here on the round. It's 1-1. So guys, what did you see there in that last push?
The last push was definitely the 2 kills of Junkrat that opened it up. Just as I said, they were in a small closed-in area, and that's just a big feed for Junkrat. All that spam damage is just gonna kill everyone straight up. It's gonna destroy Reinhardt's shield, and you're just gonna destroy everyone, and that's exactly what happened. What I predicted, the second later, it happened. But then again, they did have a lot of time on the clock, so it was kind of expected. But then again, this switches up the match a little bit, so I'm excited for next map.
All right, and we're gonna bring in Cajun. If you're still there, we're gonna let you have your say too as well. But we'll also bring in our analyst here, Linder, and I think Linder's gonna come in. And that last team, those two last team fights, four quadruple kill ults from the Diva as well as a double kill from Fun to start the game. But a lot of things happening going on there. What did you guys see?
Well, from my perspective, the MO for both of these teams is that they're rather inflexible. They're kind of throwing down, this is what we brought to the party, and this is all we're going to bring to the party. So where do we go from here? Comes down to ult management. And you were right, the Junkrat, once you get into these tight corridors and these tight situations where you're dealing with ult management, if any of these players can bust out one ult to get up 1 or 2 kills, they can make some progress. Conversely, since you're not being flexible, these team fights are just incredible messes. You know, neither team is really able to establish a good dominance. So going to this next match, you know, once we get the comps established, I think that's what we kind of have until the end of the match. They're just going with it till the end.
I agree. The lack of flexibility is actually shocking. When you're stuck on a certain point, I mean, there's certain chokes in the game where, especially on Dorado, where you want to run a slower comp with that Widow to try to get the picks in, but something that's just such an easy win condition as bringing Zarya Rein, especially if you're having troubles with the Junkrat, out of all the heroes in the game, that'll just feed your Zarya.
Right.
You could easily put in the easy win condition of a Zarya, have her running around with 80 charge every single time.
Yeah, I was super surprised not to see a Zarya. I was really surprised there. And I even saw a couple of their ults. The Moria ult near the end there, she kind of popped it after the Rhine was pretty much lost. So I'm not sure if that was a mistake, but Moria ult's not a big saving. You know, if you kind of have to initiate with that one.
Yeah, I agree. If you're struggling on certain points, your supports need to have aggressive ult management. I'm shocked that I'm not seeing as much Zen as I'd expect to see, especially because it's as simple as having your Zen just spam into Reinhardt's shield once you get Discord on Reinhardt and they have no Zarya, that Reinhardt is just stuck with 30% extra damage on him. All you have to do at that point is just start pushing him. He won't be able to get aggressive. He won't be able to get in your face. He has 30% extra damage. He's just done, basically. So I don't know why they can't do that, or I don't know why teams aren't trying to just get six easy win ults and just hold on to that. Is sometimes it's not worth trying to throw in 3-4 ults every fight versus just having 6 ults and
Traveling
just
to
rolling.
Volskaya Industries.
All right, so we're moving on to our next map, guys. Volskaya Industries. What does Havoc need to do in order to come back here or try and take this point away as we see them on the attack first? And what does Hive need to do to try and push back Havoc to take the second point?
I think I need to see more Zen, to be honest. I think both teams in particular need to bring in the Zen and just see how things go. Even if the Zen isn't a good feel, I think they need to just bring in the Discord and go from there.
I would agree with that. You know, if you're in this is another map that does play to Zarya on attack, and that this would be a perfect opportunity to break out the Zen, break out the Zarya, get through that choke, and get some good establishment on point. And with the Zarya, you just almost have a guaranteed team win for at least one fight.
Well, I expected Fun to be on Junkrat again, which works here again pretty good. But then again, it's 2 CP, and out of experience, 2 CP
Attackers
usually
incoming in
ends up
30
in a lot of
seconds.
rounds. So I'm hyped up. It's either gonna be like a lot of rounds, or just like they're not gonna be able to cap any points. That's just how 2 CP works. I mean, what is your experience with 2 CP?
Well, I don't have much experience with that, knowing that it's not as exciting. I'll tell you this: whenever I play this kind of thing, it's not as exciting as it is right now. It's a 1-1 game already. You can see a change in the lineup though, as we'll just notice. Fun's still not Junkrat, but Nana's still switching out for Stub though, so a huge substitution there, as Stub was huge in that play on Dorado. So we're gonna see how that works out here. Boiler moving on over from that Widow, taking the McCree point here on their first try on the attack here. 3:40 on the clock already. First team fight being held here right in the middle of the game. Fun getting a kill on Boiler to start off on team fight, so it's the 6v5 in favor of the Hive.
But let's keep track of, there was a key change made. The Hanzo. Everybody knows he can dump out damage like nobody's business. So if he can get on a roll.
Speaking of dumping on damage, Notorious with that huge kill on Fun. So, and Fun's gonna get res though, so no more reses for in Artisan and Hive for a little while here. Boiler's gonna get the kill on Banana, so a huge kill there on the DPS. As we move into the team fight, Havoc already pushing in to that point. And not much happening, still pushing back a little bit here. Havoc keeping together as the group, so maybe there's a team fight. Fun here, already a junk tire coming out, getting Big Head only, but that's huge. Getting the tank down. Big Head's gonna go down, and that's gonna force Havoc to push to move back just a little bit to allow a non-staggered team fight.
And Mercy securing the last kill on McCree, who was still up top. Nice play by Mercy. I mean, you always got to pull out the gun if your teammates aren't doing it, right?
Right. They're here, but as long as they're getting kills, it's all good for them. Here comes the Dragon Strike right down the middle. Is that gonna get anybody? No. As the Hive move out of the way just in time, and Artisan healing everybody up just to be safe. Here comes the Coalescence here by Morton Salt. Trying to get anybody here. Not much happening for the Coalescence here other than the healing. Boiler with a good kill on Banana. So Boiler just picking on Banana already. And trying to get vengeance for after getting picked off by Stubbs so many times in that last game. Here comes the self-destruct, landing it right in the middle. Not a very good placement, but a very good triple kill there. Bryce D getting the kill on Artisan, Hermes, and Dynamic Speeds right there. And that's going to allow the point here, unless a junk tire coming out for Fun. Not only getting Notorious here, but a successful push for Havoc nonetheless. So unless the Hive can come back and swarm the point here, it looks like Havoc's going to get point number one with just over a minute and a half.
I'm capturing the objective.
Greetings.
Now, moving into the second point here, the Hive is ult heavy. There's no reason why Havoc, they simply cannot roll in and take this point on a quick capture. So we know that we're in for a long call here.
Well, a long haul it is. 5 minutes on the clock here to see if the Hive can push back Havoc of anything here on the second point. As you said, ult heavy. 5 people have their ult. The only one that doesn't have is Fun on that Junkrat. Could be huge though if they get some hits. Here comes the first of them all. Though ult shot or Earth Shatter coming in for Hermes. Unsuccessful though as Foiler's gonna foil his plans. The rally coming in for Dynamic Beat. Foiler just picking off everything here, getting both of the tanks. The D-Mech on McStukes though. That's going to allow a good push by Havoc here on the side, trying to get anything up top. Big Head with a kill on here. The Valkyrie coming out. Deadeye, here we go. Gets the Artisan, so stopping Valkyrie of anything possible here. And a pick here. The ult coming out here for Banana with his visor. Fun coming out with a lot of their ults on their own, but still Havoc very successful in that team fight. Staggering the Hive just a little bit more. Self-destruct to try and clear the point here. Not much doing for them though. So still not on that first tick, but Havoc still got a good push here. And the stagger not happening here. Hermes with a good tackle there, as that's going to push their tanks back even further. So Havoc may very well have almost have themselves the first point, but here comes the self-destruct. Is that going to get anybody? No, it won't. The Hive is going to have themselves a good defense, and a close one at that, almost having Havoc take their first tick. So what a defense by Havoc.
Yeah, it was critical. That was definitely a bend but don't break philosophy there. They did not get a tick. They can reset. Ult economy is definitely favoring Havoc right now, so Hive has got to play smart. They got to focus down some targets when they roll in.
And moving on here, you see Havoc, well, like you said, 5 ults already. Bryce T not close to his ult, but Havoc with 5 of their own ults, so we'll see. Notorious going down almost. Here comes the Dragon Strike from him right down the middle of the point. Not going to get anybody for now. Valkyrie coming out for Robo-Dude, but Notorious does get Dynamic Beast in the back. Here comes the Earth Shatter. Deadeye coming in for Foiler. Gets Hermes. Big Head, so a good push by Havoc right now, getting 3 kills so far. Maybe 4 on the D-Mech from Big Head, and also gets the Diva. Notorious with a good push here, all the way down to the point. Notorious helping them out majorly. Dynamic Beast just going to sit there with the May Icicle, trying to sit there for as long as he can, try and not stagger this team. And here comes the Earth Shatter once again. By both sides, Hermes getting the tackle on Robo-Dude, takes out the heal. Notorious with a pick on Banana, as well as another kill before that. Here comes the Junk Tire by Fun. Is that going to get anybody? It gets Big Head, and also gets the D-Mech on Bryce T. So the Hive, once again, you're getting that. The Dragon Strike coming right down the middle, though. So a lot happening here between the two teams. The staggering happening, though. But the Hive is going to have 4 people on this point, pushing back Havoc. Still contesting, who is still contesting that point here, but that tick moving just a little further, and the Hive with another defense after staggering so much in that last fight.
Potato, what are you seeing from your angle?
What I'm seeing from my angle is that the tactical mace switch is what's holding the Hive right now. But I think they're really low on healing with the Brigitte and Lucio combo. So I'm wondering what's gonna happen next team fight. What do you think?
Will be interesting, yeah, as you said, in Artisan moving on over to Lucio. So we'll see if that changes up anything. Banana now on that Brigida after going on there. The Blizzard coming out from the mid. Getting a few players here. Bryce T going to be in the middle of that as well. See if they can take out the mech here, and they will. And it's going to be McStukes trying to get out that mech, trying to chase him down. In the meantime, right down in the middle, you see a push here. Actually, the Hive is going to push Havoc back all the way, see if they can get anything there. Banana with a good reach on the Brigida onto the Zarya from Foiler. And Foiler changing from that McCree onto the Zarya now. So like you guys said, huge character on this map, Zarya. We'll see if that works out in Havoc's favor.
Not a lot of time to build the Zarya ult. 30%. She might have it for the last 10 seconds of this match.
And the Dragon Strike coming down right down the middle. So not much happening there. Here comes the self-destruct. Bryce T with it. Is that anything going to happen? No, sir. No, nothing on there. But Morton Sun on the other hand with the Coalescence coming out here. Foiler's got a good push. Another self-destruct coming on. And that's going to be from McStukes, but nothing going on there. Big Head gets the kill on Dynamic Beast. We'll see if a tackle happens here. Almost the D-Mech. The Earth Shatter getting nothing from Hermes. Bryce T going to punish him for even trying that. Big Head gets the Fire Strike, and that's going to push Havoc all the way back here. A little bit of a stagger here. 4 players on this point, pushing it all the way. Now the question is the Hive going to be able to push this back even further? See if they can get it here. Once again, Dynamic Beast trying to keep that point in for a stagger here. Trying to push them all the way back. There's the tackle from Big Head, and Hermes is going to die by Notorious's hand. So still a 4v4, very interesting one. Here comes Bryce T. That's all coming into play, and a double kill. That, but Notorious coming in with a double storm as well. Foiler getting the last kill, and that's going to be it. Havoc gets the second point with no time on the clock.
Remember this moment.
I would still say, considering they lost first point pretty quick, I think this is still a win for the Hive because they managed to get it on overtime. So it was a great round. Great job, guys. I'm proud.
Great round by them, as you said. Foiler coming in with that Junkrat too at the same time, but the big play there, Notorious coming in with a few shots. That's Storm Hour getting 3 kills there in the final time, as well as Bryce T's double kill to start off that match. So Cajun, what did you see there going into that final team fight for Havoc as they pushed up for their final point?
Clearly, what made the difference was the Zarya switch. Yes, you're not going to have a big grab. You're just not going to be there. But the bubbles were making a huge difference for the comp that the Hive was running for defense. You could get a lot more protection on your tanks. You got a lot more sustain on there than what a Kree can buy you. You're basically trading burst damage for sustain. And the sustain in this point, because you saw these fights, they literally came down to probably 20 or 30 health on 4 players in any given point. So what do? You give a player more health. That's what Zarya is for. Plus, you can get a lot of damage once you get charged.
And interesting enough, already the team comp switching over. McStukes moving over from that Diva in last round, moving on over to the Zarya. Now Banana also moving on over to the Reaper. So a lot of switches happening for Banana, trying to figure out what DPS works with this team comp here. You see Hermes with that Reinhardt for this team. So if the Reinhardt helps out, that's what Hermes is doing. In the meantime, still about the same team comp, but the only difference is Bryce T with a little more of an explosive player with Junkrat coming into play instead of the Diva. So a little bit of a switch coming on here for Havoc. A little more of a standard team comp here.
And fun switch from DPS to support, so I guess both teams switched around a little bit. Let's see what happens.
Well, let's see what happens here. Already, you can see the Hive just swarming up to the point. They're already moving up to the middle. They're moving up to the middle point already here. Uncontested for a little while. Only gets a little bit of a tick here, maybe a millimeter at that. But they still get a little bit of a tick nonetheless here. Pushing Havoc back all the way here. Here comes the tackle from Big Head, not getting anybody, so he's going to be all alone by himself back there. Hermes is going to punish him for that. In the meantime, Banana now on that Reaper, killing Robo too, so they're not going to have anything. In the meantime, Bryce T gets a double kill on that after he dies by In Artisan's hand, but that's not going to matter. 4 players still on the point here for the Hive, and a fast push already from the Hive onto this point, and they're going to take their first point with ease with 3 minutes on the clock.
Join me in glory.
Solid push. McStukes is doing work.
Objective B.
And that's Zarya really coming in handy already for the Hive. So McStukes, I guess that is making a difference here. As they're already rushing in here, Coalescence already being used here. Coalescence already being used at getting a double kill is Bryce T in Artisan and Dynamic Beast. Robozoot coming in with that res on Foiler after Banana kills him. So Havoc gonna have a little bit of a good push here. A little bit of breathing room, but 6.5 minutes left. I don't know how long they can hold this.
Well, you've
Good
got...
thing
Go ahead.
Yeah, good thing the Hive went back. As soon as the Junker got a double kill, they backed off. They're like, okay, we have enough time. We're gonna go move back, which is smart because they already have three, almost 4 ults up. Well, the Hive, the red team does not. And as you can see now, with the pre-rally, they're going in and trying to get some kills on the point. Nice big slam from Reinhardt.
Big slam, but an even bigger kill by Notorious with a double Dragon Strike. But that's still going to push them back all the way. Here comes Death Blossom from Banana to try and push anybody off the point. They may get the first tick here as soon as somebody contested, pushing them back on the point. Hive gets tick number 1 here. Still pushing back. Here comes the Lucio from Bryce T, switching it up a little bit. And Hermes is going to punish him with a Fire Strike. 3 points already, and it looks like, at the last second coming in here with a huge kill is Notorious on the point. Here, still got time though, 5.5 minutes left to go. Havoc pushing back with even more. Notorious coming in with a huge push here to defend their point here. So Havoc gonna have a little more breathing room, but not much. 2 ticks down, 1 to go for the Hive.
It was actually on 99.9%. That was, they almost had it, and I am in full confidence that they will get this next push. What do you think?
Now what do we have now? What do we have online? We got ourselves a grab.
We do have ourselves a grab. We'll see if McStokes can get make use of it here. Here comes the Coalescence coming from Morton Salt. See if they can get anything here. Dynamic Beast still Notorious coming in with that huge Doomfist already. Robohead Notorious with a huge Meteor Strike, a double kill on Banana. Dynamic Beast, Big Head getting that last kill for them, and that's gonna push the Hive all the way back. A team kill for Havoc, and what another defense. 4.5 minutes left to go for the Hive to try and get this point.
Yeah, I don't think that was a smart play for from the Havoc, because they had a little bit of an overkill, especially with the late Zarya ult that was not needed. They had that with the Doomfist Meteor Strike, and now the Hive has again an ult advantage. So let's see if they can capture the last point in this last push, because they don't stagger around. They just go in, run in every time, every single time. It's beautiful to watch.
Well, we have ourselves a Pharah now on the battlefield. Zarya ditch for Pharah.
Boiler, here comes the Graviton charge from McStokes. Is that going to happen for anything? A great follow-up by the whole team here. The Hive's going to have themselves a good push here with only one person there. That's going to be the Moira here from Morton Sawdust. He dies as well. Farrah coming in from Boiler. He also dies. So it looks like the Hive is going to get themselves point number 2 with 3:45 on the clock. So a good round there. Final attempt coming up for the Hive here. They've got 3:45 on the clock, and all they have to do is get a tick, because Havoc does not have a single second left on that clock. So what does the Hive have to do here to push themselves to get this third point?
They're definitely gonna try the same comp. They just run in, waltz in there, and what's it called? The Havoc just let them. They just let them go in. So I definitely think they're gonna try this same thing. And as you can see, that's the triple tank-ish, because, you know, let's just say 2.5 tank and Lucio. The speed boost just gets them straight on point. I think you're gonna try it again. Must be. But the question is, what will the Havoc do for this? What will they do to avoid this happening once again?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of defending at the choke when you have not a lot of time. You drag your opponent into the point. Remember, it's all about the team fight. It's actually not about the point. It's about the team fight. So if you drag your opponent deeper into the point, any kill you get forces them to walk farther, burns time.
2, 1.
You're definitely right about that. Let's see what happens now.
Alright, let's see what happens. 3:45, a lot of time on this clock for the Hive to try and see. They pushed well earlier. They pushed on their first team fight already. They're going to try the same tactic here. Hermes leading the charge already on the team fight, but unlike last game, Havoc already pushing the back here. Boiler with a good kill on Hermes. That's going to get rid of their tank. In the meantime, still a good push. Notorious gets the Brigida right out of the way. Banana on the flank, though. And here comes in Artisan right on that point. Now pushing back with the shadow step. Banana still on top, so I don't know if Havoc is going to come here and try and punish him for even trying to flank. And there's Spoiler with the McCree punishing Banana. So a backup of the Hive here. So Havoc playing that a little differently, and Hive also doing that as well. Hive we saw pushing up to the point very fast, but it's Havoc that defends this well on the first try.
You know, I like what they're doing here. They're running a Lucio. That gives them that burst speed to get around the outside.
Alright, and they're going to try a different tactic here. They went left to start. Now they're going to go right here to try and get the up top flank here. But that's all 6 players coming in there, so a little bit of room here in the corridors to see if anybody takes advantage of that. Here comes the Junkrat on the flank, though. Notorious trying to get any kills. Here they come from behind. Both Coalescence coming out from Artisan and Morton Salt at the same time. Robo-Dude aiming right. Artisan aiming right for Robo-Dude with that Coalescence. Fun getting the kill on Big Head, but Bryce T trying to save it here with the self-destruct. Is there going to be any kills? No, but that will clear the point, however. Notorious with a Junkrat kill on McStokes. That's going to push them back a little. No more tanks here for the team from the Hive here. Another kill on Dynamic Speed for the Hive here. Banana coming in with that visor though here for the Hive, trying to see if they can get that point. Morton Salt trying to hold it as much as they can on Lucio. 1v1 here on the point between the healers, but it's Morton Salt coming in, soloing that hold, but he's still got a stagger here as his team not there yet. Only both healers on this point. Here comes Big Head trying to charge, and a tackle right on Big Head, right for Big Head on Hermes. Morton Saul getting the last kill there as well. So that's gonna push back the Hive even further. A minute and a half left. What a hold by Havoc there in the final seconds of that.
Yeah, very, very, very good hold. Now, Hive has to not panic. They have to manage their ults, and they have to be able to disengage. If they go down one right away, you got to disengage. Do not stagger. You do not have the time.
And they don't have the time. They've only got a minute and 10 seconds left to go here on the clock. And coming into this game as well, Havoc coming in with 2 of their ults, coming in with a 3rd one as well. Here comes a tackle. Big Head with a huge kill on Hermes. That's going to get rid of one of the tanks for the Hive here. They're going to try and get a flank around.
They still have time. You got a minute. It's concern time, but it's not panic time. Disengage. Regroup.
Well, not disengaging. Notorious getting the kill on McStokes. Still Dynamic Bees up there, as well as in Artisan still on that choke point up top. But still, they're not going to reset here. 39 seconds on the clock, though.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of time here. Coming into this final, what may very well be the final point. Hive with 4, maybe 5 ults coming up here. Havoc with all 6 ults coming up.
It's big ult showdown on the Volskaya.
Easy.
Here we go. We'll see in the last 20 seconds of this match who uses their ult and which team can compose their ults even better. Here comes the Coalescence already coming from an Artisan. The Graviton Surge already coming in. Self-destruct with that huge Earth Shatter. Is anybody going to be able to do it? Bryce D with a double kill and Notorious at the same time getting a junk tire. So what a team play by Havoc here. Getting a double kill. Banana with that visor. Quake Head punishing him for even trying. 1 second left on the clock. Is anybody going to be able to challenge it? No. Overtime happens, but nobody's going to get onto the point in time. And that'll do in the Hive defends it.
Victory.
And it's going to be a draw here between the Hive and Havoc. 2-2. What a game by both teams.
Play of the game.
See play of the game here coming up here. This is from Big Head. A huge play here coming. The huge Earth Strike, Earth Shatter rather, coming in. Notorious with that double meteor strike kill. So a little bit of overkill, as you guys said, but still getting the job done for them. But huge, and as you can see on the board as well, a lot of good cards here. Hermes with that 28,000 damage block, and actually going to get a legendary off of that too. So a great play by Hermes on that Reinhardt, helping out the Hive. But still a 1-1 game. Nobody getting the advantage of the other coming into the 4th map. So we'll bring in our next. We'll rotate to our next map. We'll also bring in our analyst Lynn Dare as well. So guys, a really great game here, a draw happening. 3:45 on the clock for the Hive, but not being able to get anything there. They only needed a tick. So what did Havoc do to push back the Hive so much for 3:45?
I think the Hive. So these Moras are playing really passive, and I think that's especially the case in the Hive's case. There are multiple times where there's 11 people in front of the Mora, and they just don't press Coalescence, and Coalescence is all about getting value. Coalescence by itself isn't necessarily a good ult. So the fact that they're having these just pure lineups where they can get good damage and good heals into, where you can just be beaming a Reinhardt and beaming your own Reinhardt and just swinging away at them, just stuff like that will win you fights and win you games. So I'm not sure why people are being very passive with their ults in that sense.
Well, I like to comment on that because, as you said, the Mora of the Hive was pretty passive. Well, you're right about that, because what I've noticed, she always used her ult when the enemy Mora used their ult from Havoc. I was surprised by that. I didn't quite understand why you would do that, because what I would have done is just wait a little bit more, because the ults from Havoc Mora were usually timed a little bit late when people were already dead, and I was concerned why he was pressing Q, because it was a lost team find anyways. So I was quite bamboozled by the fact that he, every time the enemy Mora presses Q, you know, hey, let's press Q too. I found it quite strange. What's your opinion about this?
Ult trading in that kind of way is only good if you're on the defense. Because if you don't get aggressive with your ults, there's no way you can actually take points. Especially if you've lost a few team fights in a row, you're gonna need to actually get aggressive. Because if you're just trading ult for ult, especially like an ult like Coalescence, right? where you can maybe just beam someone in the back line kind of thing from 10 miles away, you're really not going to get anywhere. You're just trading ults to stay alive at that point. I was honestly also a bit shocked that Notorious wasn't on the Hanzo gun. I watched a lot of Notorious, and the hard carry he was putting on for Havoc's attack was actually unbelievable. I think they definitely need to bring in the Zarya, because Havoc or Notorious was literally charging an ult every like minute or so.
Yeah, that's because, well, I would say that's because of the spam damage from Junkrat. Like, before, the couple of games before, they went on D-map, and they would just get straight up D-macked every single time. But as soon as he switched to Zarya, he actually kept having more value of his ult. So I think that's actually a really, really good switch. That's what they needed, in my opinion.
Yeah, Notorious actually impressed me a lot there. But we'll go through some negatives as well for Havoc's attack. One of the biggest issues that I saw was, for one, not knowing when to end the team fight. If you get into a fight on 2CP, there's no way you win that.
And this is a comment I wanted to bring up. The ult usage to me is a symptom of the deeper problem, which is we didn't see clean disengages, and even the engages were a little messy, which resulted in a lot of players trying to individually make plays. When you're trying to individually make plays, you don't combo.
Exactly. It confused me. Certain times, Havoc would be in these fights that they could technically win, but they're just going to drain time. And I think the best way to do that is just go in, get clean ult usage, combo. Don't just stagger ults one after one after one, right? You're just not going to get anywhere with that. And I think the Havoc got away with one, because if the Hive would have done the same thing and would have just kind of put in a lot of good ults, because they do that early in the game, then it seems both teams kind of forget how to combo ults, and then they just kind of stall out.
All right, so okay, so a draw with Having and a draw with the Hive here, so it's 1-1, tying up the game here, and you'll see Stub coming in from Banana from that last game. So what do both teams need to do? What are the keys for both teams to try and get a point away from the other here?
I'm trying to think on what both teams need to do. I think for the Hive, it's more aggression. I want to see the supports especially just get aggressive on their play. Their ult usage is usually very reactive to Havoc's ults, but when you're attacking, you just can't do that. The only way you can do that is if you have like a trans or something like that, but you need to go and try to get your value early. And I think both teams need to learn that. I think for Havoc's case, they use their ults aggressively, which is great and it's fine. But I think the biggest issue with what they had was they just stagger their ults. And I think for Havoc, their key to win here is for them to just use a lot of ults. So don't necessarily use all your ults at once, but you can win team fights by just using 2, 3, 4 ults and just combining them together, you know? Engage with like Coalescence, but also you can engage with like a tire or something like that.
Here's the strength and weakness. Strength for the Hive: they coordinate movement, they transition better than Havoc. Havoc's weakness, a couple of times we saw it on Volskaya, they did not transition and rotate well when Hive came in on them. We'll see how that works out for them here. Let's go to Hollywood.
Start Foiler with a good pick on Stub already. So Stub on that Hanzo, we saw Stub on the Widowmaker to start off game number 2 back on Dorado, but now he's on that Hanzo, and now Stub electing to go back to that Widow, so we'll see how that works out for them. In the meantime, the Hive now trying to get the backside here, but it's all Havoc that's got them covered. And Fun's gonna get a kill on the turret, so the turret goes down for Notorious just for a little while here, so that gives them a little bit, gives the Hive rather a little push up here on the point. Herman's gonna try and get the first strike here as he pushes up, but he's all by himself for a little while. Stub gets the pick on Foiler though, so that takes the Widow out of the game. And here we go with the fight here. Big Head with a good Orisa kill on Hermes. Fun once again taking the turret out of play, so a good one there, but Bryce T also takes Stub out of the play. Hive pushing up here, 2:55 on the clock, so plenty of time. Goalesset's already out here for Morton Salt. Same thing happening for Ian Artisan, going one after the other here. Here comes the self-destruct from Bryce T. Is that going to get anybody? No, it won't. Bryce T coming into it. He's soloing this point though, however. Z-Mac coming out for McStokes. Hermes also getting the kill on Bryce T, so it's the Hive that's coming in with a good push here on Morton Salt. That's going to push all of them out. Stub just looking for a pick at this point. Here carrying it on, and they do. But the Zhong tire coming out, is that going to get anybody in the backfield? And it is. It's still only going to get the turret, though. So Fun really focusing the turret, but that's good enough here, and the Hive is going to get themselves the first point and this payload.
Objective lost.
Shots put.
Stop the payload.
So good push by them. So what do you guys see there going into
Well,
the first
I'm
push
going to
for
have
Hive?
to say that there had to be a misclick on the Torvald. I'm just going to call that.
Alright.
I think it was a slight misplay, but who knows? We can always ask him in, once it's over, right?
You can always ask him in chat once it's over. But here we go, already the first entryway for the Hive coming in here. Already being pushed back a little. Havoc having a little trouble trying to contain this payload here. Bigot trying to group up anything here. Hermes with a good one. Here comes the coalescence from Morton Salt. Dynamic V is going to get a kill on the turret, so the turret not really working for Havoc right now with that Soldier. Stub getting the pick on Foiler, so that takes a good Widow out of the team fight here. But here comes the turret, as I just said that. Notorious getting a kill on Stub with that turret, so it is helping out just a little bit. That turret coming back up on the side here, doing some damage. Notorious doing some damage of his own as well, getting Dynamic V, and that's going to force Herman to back up just a little bit, and maybe we'll see the Hive get punished a little bit from Havoc.
Did you guys see the misplay by Hermes where he shouted in front of a Orisa's shield and got no one? I was quite surprised and bamboozled by that.
I did not see that.
Yeah, well, he lost his ult. As you can see, he has 46 now. But he did a slight misplay there.
And while we're on a little bit of a misclick here, you can also putting out the
Well,
turret first.
Torb's going back to swap. Torb's going back to swap, so toss the ult, buy some time. He's going to come in with a new character. Junkrat it is.
Junkrat is coming out for Notorious, so he's going to switch off. And here comes the Hive, though, with a fun stretch of their own. Here comes the Junk Tire coming around for Fun. Is that going to get anybody? It's going to come around the back. And Shadow stepping right at the last second. What a play by Morton Salt there. Fun not going to get anything on the Shadow step or on the Junk Tire here. Here comes the self-destruct. Not getting anything here from Bryce T there. So the Hive pushing up just this payload just a little bit more here. That car's moving up. On Arc Shadow, a huge one from Hermes to start off this team fight here. Hermes getting a D-Mac here as well as a kill on Bryce T. That's going to allow them to take the turn here coming into the final meters of this payload.
And with that, Hermes got this time a lot of value out of his ult. So I guess he proved himself once again.
You can already see Hive pushing up a little bit. Dynamic V still out there. Zarya coming in, but he's going to get pushed back all the way here, getting punished just a little bit here. No heals for him either, so McStokes is, Big Hit's going to punish Dynamic V's, but in the meantime, the point coming back here, the Hive still on this point, trying to push it up as far as they can. They've got 4 meters left to go, and they will take their second point here on this payload with 3:19 left on the clock.
That was a bad Valkyrie from Robo Dude. He should have just let it go, but now he lost his ult too. But let's see what happens. Let's see if he can build up his ult back again.
Here comes a Junk Tire here once again for Fun. Is that going to get around though? And Fun's going to get a double kill already for the Hive to start off this team fight on Morton Salt and Notorious. So Notorious, we've seen all game playing well, but right now he's getting pushed back all the way from Havoc. Stub getting the D-Mac and Dynamic Beast, finally finishing off that Devo from Bryce T. So again, another turn with ease from the Hive here as they're pushing to the last parts of this payload movement.
Coming up with 5 ults of the Hive.
And you can see three, maybe 4 ults coming up here for the Hive here. Coalescence coming out. Here comes a huge shadow on Robodude that's going to take out the Angel of Mercy from Robodude. Dynamic Beast also going to take him out here. Comes to self-destruct in the background. Bryce T gets the kill on Dynamic Beast, but Stub and Fun going to ruin the fun here for Havoc here. Coalescence coming out from Morton Salt just to try and buy some time to let his team come back into play. But only one ult's going to be up for Havoc coming into this team fight here, as Notorious is going to have his Dragon Strike. Might have to use it right away though. Here comes the Dragon Strike right down the middle of the line. Here, is he going to get anybody? Does get McStokes here. It is contested. 2.96 meters on the board here on this payload. Bryce going to try and survive here. Still contesting it here though. It's Big Head. Fun is going to end it here. Stub is going to get it all the way. Still very close here. That Shadow Step by Morton Salt keeps his team into play. Stub getting a few picks though, with Fun also getting a few damages as well with his with the Reaper shotgun here, but the stagger works here as Havoc's going to get themselves a team back into play, but so does the Hive. Here we go with another team fight, cycling right after the other here. And Artisan already getting the kill on the Diva here. Already a Death Blossom coming out for fun, getting the double kill on Bryce D and the Lucio. Hermes with a double kill of his own on Morton Saw. Big head, Dynamic Beast gonna boot Foiler off, and Notorious is probably gonna die off of this. He gets pushed back, and that'll do it. All 3 points for the Hive with some time left on the clock. And now the Havoc's gonna have to try and reflect what the Hive just did.
Score
Mr. Fun was having some fun.
to 3. Switching sides.
Oh, what a round. So all 3 points already taken by the Hive. And with a minute 14 on the clock, they pushed it all the way. And now it's up to Havoc. So what does Havoc have to do to try and reflect that, try and get more time on the clock for them?
Well, for me, you know, the Hive, the second stage is what gave them the most trouble. They had the Torb there, they swapped, they brought the Torb out of play, and they were 5v6, they engaged, and they just could not get reestablished. So the second stage, they just kind of got rolled through there very quickly. So if I'm confident that Hive can take this first point, but it's going to come down to second point if Havoc can burn more time and force kind of a long fight on the third stage. So we'll see how that works out, but for now we are in a paused condition.
So it looks like one of the players on the Havoc side crashed. Apparently, if I'm reading this chat correctly, it looks like Bryce T for Havoc did crash, so we'll give him a little bit of a reset here to try and get him back into the game. But as you saw, they're coming in, like you said, Fun was having fun. But what about the other side? Havoc was doing their best to push back as well, with the Hive just pushing them back all the way. But they did have a few good plays from both Foiler and Big Head. But the one big thing that we saw, Notorious not having too much of a say in that game from the Hive. So what does Notorious have to do to try and push back the Hive in the same way?
Do damage. Tons of damage, in my opinion. But let's see what to their at the team comp now we have some time anyways. It looks like Foil is on Brigitte too. I think that's the first time we'll have a game that both teams have a Brigitte, right?
I think we saw that earlier on Volskaya as well. I think we saw both Brigitte's coming out for them, but I could be wrong as well. We might have to go back to the recording, which is being so gratefully brought to you by Cajun right now.
It looks like Bryce is back right now. He's ready, and guess we can start once.
Alright, so 3 seconds, let's go on the pause. They're still assembling the heroes though, so we still have time to talk about this. So, like we said, so Hive pushing them all the way here in the first 3 points. It's 3-0 right now, so the Havoc's going to have to try and do the same thing. You can see Bryce T sticking on that Diva, so we'll see if that helps them out. Morton Salt though, we've seen him on the Moira all the time here. We've seen him go Moira on all 4 maps up till now. He's with that Widowmaker, so, and we'll see Foiler and Morton Salt trying to switch up roles a little bit here. So how much of an impact do you think that'll have on this team play?
Good question. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what to expect, but it looks like both teams are running Widowmaker again. I think my expectations is that Stub will outplay Morton Salt, I think. Because last game he kept getting quite some good kills on attacks from a surprisingly angle, as you can see. As Diva was trying to get back to her map, he shut that down, so I'm excited. Oh, looks like they just switched Widowmaker for Junkrat.
Yes, they did. Morton Salt moving on over from that Widow to Junkrat, so we'll see if anything happens. Robodoom also moving off that Lucio onto the Mercy, so we'll see if this team comp has anything to do with what Havoc's going to do here on the offense. In the meantime, 4 minutes on the clock here. Moving on over here, the Hive with a good defense of their own here, starting off. Hermes and McStokes. McStokes staying on the Zarya, as we saw earlier, back on Volskaya, so we'll see if that helps them here in Hollywood.
And for me, it all comes down to Stub. Because we know that Fun can dump out damage, and Fun goes down! Main damage dealer is down.
Ooh, Mercy
and the
down.
huge damage dealer's down. The healer's down as well, but as you said, Stub coming in huge here with a kill on Morton Salt, but still nobody on this point right now. Actually, Havoc's pushing back Hive a little bit more, but they still need to get some seconds on this point here. McStoke's gonna be all by himself here. Notorious gonna punish him for it. Here comes Notorious with that Hanzo that we've all seen here. They're gonna get the first tick, but we'll see if anybody else can push up here, and it looks like Hive is just gonna let Havoc have this first point.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to contest that.
Objective
Because
lost.
still some people were coming up. There would be
the
just a
payload.
huge stagger and would just feed the Havoc.
And
So
the
that was
door is
a
open.
tactical decision.
And the door is open to the western town here as we move on to the second point of this payload. See, not much of a change here. It's still sticking with the comp. Havoc's still there. The Hive, on the other hand, MFB still staying on that Brigitte, so still the same thing. Still moving from that Widowmaker. Here comes the team fight, though. A lot of damage being dealt to the backfield here. Fun and stuff almost at half health here, going down. So Havoc doing what they can as damage-wise, but Bryce T getting the kill on McStokes. Morton Salt on Stub, but Stub in the last second before dying there gets the DMAC on Bryce T. And here comes the Junk Tire from Fun, getting that double kill, and Fun is having some fun here on this point here. Robodude and Big Head going down with that huge Junk Tire to help out Hive in this team fight, and that's going to push Havoc back to a reset.
And Hive is doing what they needed to do. They needed to win a team fight here on the second stage to even up the time advantage, because they were able to kind of push through here pretty quickly. So if you want to have a good third stage fight, you got to win one fight here, and they've done that.
But I'm expecting Havoc to win the next one according to their ult advantage. Let's see what happens now. Pushing on the payload. Let's go.
Alright, pushing on the payload here. Fun already getting spoiled, so that's one of the ults out of play. Here comes the Junk Tire itself for Morton Saw. Now can Morton Saw get anything here in the backfield? He gets one on Fun, so that takes Fun out of play. So Hermes and Artisan now with their ults. Here comes Stokes as well, so we'll see if Hive is going to use any of their ults as well. Bryce T is going to get the kill on Stub. McStokes on Morton Salt though. So trades happening here, but it's Bryce T and Big Head that's going to strike first here, and that's going to allow Havoc to push this point up just a little more. Big Head getting in Artisan here, so they may make the turn here, but a huge change here you can see on the board. Notorious switching off from that, the Hanzo earlier, or even the Widowmaker, now on this Genji, so we'll see how huge this is going to be. Robodude gets that res on Foiler as the Moira here. Morton Salt getting dynamic piece. Here comes the Junk Tire, but Morton Salt ending Fun's fun here. The Graviton starts Dragon Strike coming right down the middle. That gets double kill for Stub on both Big Head and Foiler. And a self-destruct happening here from Bryce T on McStokes. What a 3-1 ult trade here, and that's going to allow Hive to push back Havoc even further here. Less than 3 minutes on the clock.
My ultimate is charging.
And this is why you run a Hanzo Zarya combo.
Well, the Hive needs to learn to let it go. Like, the Moira ulted there, while she was grabbed by the Zarya, well, she just should have let go, because she lost her ult with 11% on it. But then again, she can build it quite quick in the last 2 minutes. They have to get to the second point.
But this is a pattern we saw previously, ult management, and not really holding it. So that's, for spectators, this is what you want to watch. Are they going to be holding the ults, or are we going to see individuals just kind of popping off as they see fit?
So Stub already for the Hive, getting out the Genji from Notorious, and also D-Max Bryce T. So, but it's on the other hand though, Havoc's going to get through their own kills on both Stub and McStokes. So it's a 2-for-2 trade, both on a 4v4 online. Here comes the drop, the beat from Dynamic Beast. That's going to allow Hive to push up just a little more here with some help. Morton Salt gets the kill on in Artisan. So not much happening here. Havoc's going to push Hive up just a little more. Actually, Dynamic Beast goes here. Here comes the Dragon Strike right down on the point here. Not getting anything though, but Fun having even more fun with another double kill on both Boiler and Big Head from Havoc. So the Hive getting some more kills. Robodude getting the res on Big Head, so that's going to be huge with the tank play here. Hive is going to have a 2v2 on the point here, but here comes Hermes with his own Reinhardt to try and see if he can push out. Big Head's just going to push back, and Havoc's going to have themselves a reset. So what a good defense with 1:15 left on this clock.
So Havoc, what do they have at the bank coming online? They've got Shatter. They will have Blade, and they will have Riptire. So they can initiate with Brigitte, follow it up with a Tire or a Blade, and they can win this fight, but they got to be careful.
And already the Earth Shatter as he flies up Hermes. using those wings, or using his wings as a Reinhardt rather. An Earth Shatter also coming from Big Head, a huge slap. Morton Salt getting a double kill, but Fun with a triple kill of his own. On both Robo 2, Big Head and Foilo, so that gets rid of the rest. Anything happening for Havoc here. Fun also on the D-Mag for Bryce C, so Bryce C gonna have to back off, but not in time. Fun's just gonna ruin everything for him, and In Artisan's gonna get the kill on Morton Salt, so a huge defense by the Hive, highlighted by a triple kill from Fun.
Barrier activated.
So 15 seconds left to go on this clock, and we'll see if Havoc can get anything else here coming for them.
10 seconds.
They're gonna need to push this point, though. They've only got the first point, so even if they get this, they're gonna have to push well to get to the second.
Major pick.
Stubb's gonna get the pick here. Here comes the Dragon Strike right away. Hermes gonna clear out. Morton Salt there. Big Head goes down. Or sorry, McStokes goes down courtesy of Big Head Fire Strike. Big Head also getting another kill. Some Big Head working hard here, trying to do what he can to try and clear this point. As Notorious gets a snipe here. Big Head with 3 kills in a row on this team. Stubb also getting a kill on the Brigida though. But not much happening here in the team fight going in Big Head's way. But Fun ending Big Head's fun here. Still overtime though. Notorious, the only one on this point. He's gonna push it up just a little more here, but it's a 2v1 in favor here. But here comes Robodude with the res. Can he get in time? Yes, he can. Valkyrie coming in now online. The Graviton Surge though gets all 3, but nobody there to follow up. Unless it's Hermes coming in with that tackle. And nobody on point clears it out. And what a clear by the Hive to end this round. 3-1 the final score. And it's Hollywood. And the swarm comes to Hollywood.
Play of the game.
And obviously Fun with the play of the game. Let's watch this. It's the triple kill, right? Oh no, it's actually not.
No, it may not be. This is the double kill first, then he goes off after this as well. Throws down the Overleague sticker and has himself even more fun with another kill there. So a great production of ults coming in, and Fun having a lot of fun in that last match here. But the legendary coming out for Robodude, so a great job to him on the Mercy healing. We'll bring back in Lindare, so a lot of great plays, but I think the highlight of that had to be fun from the Hive coming in. A lot of good ults by him on the junk tire, but what did you guys see on your end?
Oh gosh, I think I saw Havoc throw. To be honest, I think there was so many things that were just wrong. At one point, they had 5 ultimates to none, and they held on to every single ultimate, did not pop one, and they end up getting picked twice. The Hive ends up getting 4 or 5 ults accumulated, and things just go downhill and kind of spiral out of control right there. When you have a lot of ults, you don't want to use them all, but you'd rather use them all than not pop any. Because if you're just going in a dry run against a team that's equally as skilled as you, especially when they're defending, slamming your head into the wall without any kind of, like, boost into it, you're just gonna not go anywhere. I think that was kind of the story of the game. At one point, there were 3 or 4 players left alive for Havoc on point, and Robo doesn't pop Valk, and Valk gives you a speed boost. Valk lets you Guardian Angel from across the whole map in 1 second. You can get there. And instead of pressing it and getting there and keeping your team up, because you don't want to arrive to the fight after the fight's over, especially with an ult like that. It's not Transcendence. You aren't going to instantly top your team.
You do not heal the dead.
Exactly. So stuff like that. He goes for a ballsy res, but he doesn't pop Valk, so he's not getting an auto heal. He's not flying and kind of shifting around midair where it's an awkward shot to land. He gets it off onto the Rhine, but it was just little things kind of like that where it could be easily remedied for, I think, the Havoc. I think the Hive, they just need to kind of work on their team play a bit. But I think Havoc just kind of throws their fights. I'm pretty frustrated, to be honest.
And so you're pretty frustrated. So with Havoc throwing some fights here, but Hive also doing their part as well. But now Havoc coming in down 2-1, and we may be looking at a tiebreaker if Havoc gets this. Like I said, Hive leading 2-1. What does Havoc need to do here on Ilios to try and get back this point?
They need to shut down Fun and shut down Stun. I don't think Bryce T's D.Va is working against the Hanzo and the Junkrat. D.Va is good at shutting down individual heroes, especially carries, but if there's 2 good players that you're just having issues with, I think Bryce just needs to put down his losses and go onto the Zarya. there's so much ult charge to be grabbed and so much bubble charge to be grabbed energy by playing Zarya against a good Junkrat and against a good Hanzo, and you just feed yourself.
I agree, and this is one of the I love them running Hanzo on the defense there, because when you're running down those corridors on Hollywood and you're throwing a Dragon Strike, they really don't have a lot of options on where to go, even if you don't have a grab.
1. Round
Exactly.
1. Capture the objective.
Alright, well, thank you guys. We're going to move on to our next map here. Hive leading 2-1, and they're going to try and swarm to point number 3 here, but we'll see if Havoc can create enough chaos to get to point number 2 and try and create a tiebreaker here as we go on to Ilios here. Ilios a tough time here. They played this map number 1 when we're back here on map number 4. We'll see if anybody can get anything here. Bryce T with a good kill on McStokes to start off. So Bryce T, as Lindare said, Bryce T not working well in the D.Va, but it's working so far here. He's already got 3 kills to start off this team fight here, and already inducing the first strike here for Havoc. We'll see if the Hive can get back. Not in time though. Hive is, and it looks like Havoc is going to get their first point, or first strike rather, here on Lighthouse.
It looks like Bryce was like, no, I'm gonna prove you wrong. My D.Va is good.
So Lindare getting some back from Bryce T as Bryce T induces that first team fight with 3 kills of his own. So we will see if the Hive can come and respond back here in their next team fight. Already 20% here, so still plenty of time for the Hive to try and come back here. Fun gets a kill on Morton Salt, so that takes out one of the healers. Now we'll see if a Rez comes on. Actually, there's no healers for Havoc, so it's up to the rest of the team to try and defend this point. Bryce T out of his mech here, courtesy of Fun. Hermes ending it there. So a good push for the Hive so far. Stub getting the kill on Notorious and Big Head as well. That's going to clear out the entire team of Havoc. So what a push by the Hive, and the Hive right back at Havoc.
The Havoc is actually running a dive kind of comp. Well, I think that's problematic, especially because the enemy team has like Stub is Hanzo, because Hanzo is just so anti-dive right now. But let's see what happens next team fight.
You hit on it. They're running dive into Brigida, into a closed space, into a Reaper, into a Hanzo, which really shuts down dive. That's going to be a tough fight to win.
So ult's being thrown off here, but at the same time, Bryce T gets the kill on stuff. Foiler having some fun of its own with the double kill on Hermes and Dynamic Beast. Here comes a Dragon Strike here, and I don't see where that actually went. That's going to come right into the middle of the point here. That's going to be from Stub. See if he gets anybody there, but it's a little too late. Here is Big Head and Morton Salt going off on their own kills. The only one left there on the point is Fun as the Reaper. They're going to push him off, and that's going to allow Havoc to get this point back. So one after the other, each push having their own consequences for each team, but it's the Havoc that gets the point back from the Hive. So a good push here by Havoc getting the point back. Here comes a self-destruct by the Hive here. Not going to get anything, so McStokes going to have to reset with that D.Va mech. Here comes another Dragon Strike here. I don't know where that's from. That's going to be from, from Notorious. Not much happening. Bryce T gets his own kill on Stub, though. He's going to push the point here. 4 on 1 rather. Bryce T getting surrounded. Not much happening here in terms of a team fight for Havoc trying to take this away from the Hive, but it's the Hive that's going to push back. So again, stealing the points from each side, and it looks like it's just a tug of war at this point to see who's going to get the final points here.
I feel like Robodude Lucio is holding on to his ults way too much. He hasn't used it yet this game, and while he has it for a long while. Same thing with Moira once again. I guess the ult, what's it called? Havoc needs to deal with their ult economy really bad.
Here comes Death Blossom in the backfield, though. Fun's gonna have his own fun there with the kill on Notorious.
Moved him into Havoc.
He did. Wow, what a play there. Here comes the Coalescence by Morton Salt to try and push out anything, but Fun's having his own fun. Not from a Junkrat, but from a Reaper as he switches up here. He's on the point trying to get something here. The Dragon Strike coming in. I believe that's going to be from Notorious trying to get here from the point. Bryce T with his own ult. Is that going to get anybody? No, it does not, but at the same time, Foiler gets a Junk Tire, a kill of his own. Here comes overtime though, so it's up to the Hive to try and keep this point. They've got everybody. Dragon Strike coming in to clear the point, and Big Head gonna get there just in time to reset the overtime. But is there anybody else that's gonna get on overtime? No, it will not. Hive's got point number 1 on Ilios.
Great round from both teams. But The question is, did that Lucio use his ult effectively? Like, he finally used it at the end of the game, but I'm kind of disappointed. What about you guys?
Sound barrier is not a rescue ult. You know, you have to initiate mid-fight ult if your team's getting low, but if you're using it near the end of the fight, yeah, you're not going to get a lot of value out of that.
Exactly. The what's it called? Let's break it down. God, I forgot the name.
5, 4, 3.
Lucio's ult is a more of a defensive ultimate, just like Zenyatta's.
The objective.
So we'll see if the sound barrier for Lucio coming in here, but no Lucio to be found anywhere on the right now. So it's up to the teams to try and figure out. So well hasn't been done yet. So we'll see if Havoc can come back. We'll see if Havoc can come back here down 1 point. We'll see if they can take it to the well. In the meantime, Stubb on that Widow. We've seen him all day long as he's been playing that Widow, getting a pick on Foiler. So Foiler's gonna have to try and figure something out here.
The objective is now active.
So a good push here already for the Hive. Pushing back Bryce T, and that's gonna push back the killer as well. On the tank there, Stubb getting a pick on Notorious. So Stubb with a really good Widowmaker coming in. They're gonna get the point, or not, they're gonna get the first strike. Maybe as Bryce T comes in at the last second, trying to stagger off Havoc here, trying to see if they can get this point. That's gonna demech themselves though, and it's gonna be the Hive with the first strike on here on Ruins.
And a player I like to keep my eye on is Fun. He's gotten a lot of value out of his Junkrat, and he continues to get a lot of value out of Reaper. Every time that they're contesting the point, he's where he needs to be.
Yeah, it looks like the Havoc can just not deal with the Reaper. Well, they should, especially with the Reinhardt.
And the rally coming in already for that's going to be from Dynamic Beast, as well as an Artisan coming out with that. So 2 ults coming out here already, and it's going to work for them. Dynamic B gets the kill on Notorious, and Hermes on that big end. So a trade for trade character there by both by the Hive, clearing out the point. They're going to push him back actually all the way up onto the Parthenon there, right in front of them. But coming up in this team fight, 6 ults for Havoc, so they may have the advantage coming in as Hive only has 3 ults coming fight. 2 of which already been used by Foiler on the infrared site, and Notorious with the rally. Bryce T's gonna get the pick off on Stubbs though, so that's gonna help them to start. Dynamic B with a kill on Foiler, so both snipers go down. Here comes the Death Blossom, not getting anything to self-destruct though, not getting anything either for McStokes. Bryce T still has some ult though, and so does Big Head, so it could be huge if there's an Earth Shatter self-destruct combo here. Bryce T throwing the self-destruct into the middle, we'll see if that can get anything. Only getting McStokes, who's out of his teammate, courtesy to Notorious. But it looks like Havoc is going to win this fight. Has 4 kills already. Big ones coming from Foiler on Stubb, and Big Head on that in Artisan. So good play there. Havoc's going to have themselves the strike on the point.
We built Fun up, and then he got greedy with his Reaper ult. He could have ulted and taken out the Mercy before she fell and probably saved the team fight. He got greedy, stuck in behind, and then he ulted in the middle of the team. What does he do? He gets focused. Not much effect. Switching over to Junkrat.
We saw Fun on that Junkrat earlier playing against Havoc in Hollywood, so we'll see if Fun can get anything out of that. In the meantime, Fun does get a kill on Robo Dude, so a good play there. But Bryce T and Big Head working hard for Havoc, trying to clear anything that they have. Here comes the self-destruct from Bryce T, or from Bryce T on the other hand. Does get Hermes though, so that's one of the tanks out. Hive's gonna have themselves Hive's gonna have to push back and reset here. 4 players on fire for Havoc right now, so a good play by Havoc, and that's gonna clear out the Hive for now, but it'll be up to the Hive to try and push them one more time.
Come over here. But it looks like the Hive has a slight ult bench. Let's see how they will use it next team fight. With Fun with the Junkrat Tire, let's see if he gets greedy this time, because Junkrat Tire, well, considering last couple of rounds, he used his Junkrat pretty good, so I'm excited.
Speaking of Junkrat Tire,
just as I said that, exactly.
Just as you said it, Fun comes in with a double kill once again. Fun's getting nothing less than the double kill with his Junk Tire, as he's gonna get a good one, but Big Head's gonna get rest by Robo Dude just as Robo Dude dies by the hands of Hermes. Self-destruct once again, thrown out by Bryce T right in the middle, but getting no one there. And Partisan on Big Head though, so a good push by Hive so far. Havoc not having any ults except for the Earth Shatter, which is down, and that's gonna allow Hive to strike in. Spoiler and Big Head with their ults coming into this next fight. Dynamic Beast with his rally as well, but it's the Hive that takes the point here, so we will see how the Hive plays it out here. Hive is going to use the rally to try and gain some health here as well as shield to try and protect themselves in this last fight. Havoc is going to have themselves only one more ult here. Boiler's down. Here comes the Earth Shatter, getting no one actually, only getting the Brigitte from Dynamic Beast, but it's going to be a pushback. Stub getting the kill, trying to get the radar on, but actually does get Notorious in the process here. Stubbs getting also Bryce T on that max, so a good push here. Mortensod is the only one so far. Dragon Strike going to be pushing them back, and it looks like Hive is going to win map number 4 here on Ilios 2-0.
I love the timing of the pre-rally. I just love when Brigitte just do it. If you time your rally so early and you time it right, that's just good. That's what makes you a good Brigitte. Yeah, a good Brigitte. Well, let's see.
Oh, sorry. And so Lindare actually coming in and kind of rolling Bryce T. Actually, Bryce T does get play of the game, so, but Legendary coming in for Big Head with a good game on the damage block. But, so, 2-1, or rather, on Ilios it's 2-0, and the Hive getting the win 3-1 to end it. So, what did you guys see there, Lindare? What did you see there?
Oh, God. Fresh.
Wait, 3-1? Wasn't one a draw?
I think they didn't count that. Or they counted it in there. I think it was counted.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 3-1. There's a few things that I don't like choices. For one, having your best DPS go and play Break, and playing Break when you have no shield heroes. So the thing that makes Break so good is you can play like Zenyatta, right, and have a 300 health Zenyatta that just basically has permanently 300 health because your shield's regen, and Zenyatta has such little actual health that you can basically just go off of that, right? I don't know why you'd play a comp where Brig's armor is just going to be pretty much useless. It was just little things like that. I think Havoc might have actually been the better just individual player-wise team. I think their issue is they're just picking a lot of bad comps, a lot of kind of dumb decisions that ends up just kind of throwing the games.
Yeah, I'd say my perspective, I think the Hives, they're so used to running Deathball. It is what they do. And I saw them winning the trenches warfare better than Havoc. Their tanks were outplaying Havoc's tanks. Not all the time, but enough of the time. And especially when it came to Rhine Shatters, I just saw that the Hive got more production out of the Rhine Shatters than Havoc did. And that was enough to switch some of these team fights in their favor.
Yeah, I agree actually. So there's a little thing that I commented in chat about was something that I saw occasionally, not all the time, but sometimes, was Brigitte bash into Rhine Shatter. And it's such a hard combo to stop if you're running a diva like Havoc was. And the best way to avoid that is bring on a Zarya. Zarya bubbles stops Rhine Shatter. So the second your Rhine gets stunned by Brigitte, you just bubble him and you actually block Shatter as a whole. So it's just little things like that where if they were to pull out a Zarya and a Zenyatta, there's no good combo that the Hive ever had. So if you brought out a Zenyatta, your Zen is just going to get free trans value because he doesn't have to save the trans for a combo. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He can just press it whenever he feels like it's necessary. And I think that if they were just pull out a Zarya and a Zenyatta, they just easily win some of these games because Notorious, from watching him, a lot of the times, as long as he can stay calm and not panic, he was very, very strong on the Hanzo.
A lot of production out of the Hanzo.
Yeah, I was actually very impressed with it. Sometimes he'd panic though, and whiff a few shots that would just be embarrassing. But if he stayed calm, he was very good. So I think the Hive got away with it, with Havoc's inability to adjust. I think the Hive, I said that they didn't adjust well at first, but after a while, I think they found the rhythm and started to make the right changes and the right swaps. And I think just Havoc made a lot of bad decisions when it came down to compositions and just things like that versus actual gameplay, you know?
So as we're wrapping up our cast here of Hive versus Havoc, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Who you thought the best player on both sides were, starting with the Hive. Who on the Hive would you think would be the best player for them?
Obviously Fun was pretty pog. Hermes was surprisingly strong. His Rhine play, his shield management is actually very good. I think if he just kind of, as a team, if they've learned how to avoid, sometimes they just lose shield and they get shattered, but if they were to play as a team and play safer, I think they would have a better chance. Actually, I think Hermes was easily the most underrated player here, and I think he's obviously the best player, I think, in the whole lobby, to be honest. But Fun was definitely a good shout.
Yeah, I can't disagree. That echoes my sentiments almost exactly.
And so Fun working that when Fun, I think the most fun that we saw going into those games there was the Junkrat, and I don't think, and most of the time, the least amount of kills that he got with that Junk Tire is a double kill. So really Fun coming out and stepping up the game for the Hive.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so so Hive coming up with another match here. So Inglorious coming in with a good team as well. So what does Hive need to adjust from their previous game to try and get this win as well?
Oh gosh, I think they didn't have the old issues that Havoc had. I think that they didn't hold on to things too long or just all in too much. I think they just need to get more aggressive. I think if their supports in particular get more aggressive with it, like using Coalescence as more of an offensive aggressive ult versus a defensive, they would get a lot more value out of it. And I think they're aggressive death volley team. But I think if they would just get more out of their support ults, they will easily win this game.
All right, I think that's gonna be it for us. So we're gonna move on to our next game with the Hive and Glorious coming up in the same premiere. But that'll do it for us here. My name's Clutchkey, alongside Cajun Wise Guy, Flaming Potato, Lindare, and our host Ryan and Velo. Thank you guys for watching. Hive swarming it with a win over Havoc, 3-1.